Aloha, it's Robert Stellick. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Planet Show, where I interview wingfoil athletes, designers, and thought leaders. These are unrushed, long-form, in-depth interviews where I'm trying to learn not only about wing foiling technique and equipment, but also try to get a deeper understanding of the guest, their background, what inspires them, and how they live their best life. This show is available on YouTube, where you get video, and also as a podcast in audio only. Just search for the Blue Planet Show in your favorite podcast app to listen to the long form interviews on the go. This show has a lot of video where I'm filming myself wingfoiling with a back mounted camera, and people always ask questions about that. So just preemptively, I wanted to show you how I record it. It's if you can see this, a GoPro Max camera, like a 360 camera mounted on my back. And then afterwards I can edit it and show the footage from different angles. So it's a cool system. This is a homemade harness, windsurfing harness with an attachment. These are also available commercially. So I'll put more information down below in the description. So check it out if you have any questions about that. The last time I went on a trip off the island of Oahu was to New Zealand in February 2020. This was when the virus was raging in China. And right while we're also opening a new shop and so on. So it was kind of a crazy time for me. But I made it over there to visit with Dan Regan, who's our New Zealand Blue Planet distributor. Thanks so much for inviting me. And we went to a beautiful place called Pauanui, where they had the Auckland Paddle Fest. And that's where I met Sam Loader, who owns a business called Pacific Paddle Company, or PPC. And we stayed in touch afterwards, and he emailed me about this new wing he developed. So I was curious. He sent me a sample. I tried it. And, to be honest, I've tried most wings that are available on the market today. And I can honestly say that it's the favorite one I've tried so far. Just the combination of lightweight, very powerful for its size, easy handling, very neutral on the wave, and just so many nice features that I like about it. So we talk a lot about the wing and the development and so on in this video here. I'm also planning to make a detailed product review video that I'll post on our YouTube channel shortly, probably within a week or two. So stay tuned for that. And for now, you can go to the link below or up here to get more information about the wing on our website. So without further ado, here's my next guest, Sam Loader with PPC. All right, Sam Loader, welcome to the Blue Planet Show. Stoked to have you. And it's been a while since I saw you. I guess right before the pandemic, we met in Pauanui, New Zealand, and you took me tow and foiling, which was awesome. So thanks for that as well. But let's talk a little bit first about your background. Like where did you grow up, and how did you get into the whole water sports and your business and so on?
So I grew up in Christchurch, which is down South Island of New Zealand. And I actually grew up kind of skiing, so kind of in the mountains a little bit. A lot of people don't know I've kind of a ski background and competed a little bit and traveled and went to the US and stuff. But I guess the whole water thing came about. We used to go to Fiji as a family just once a year. Pretty lucky to do that. But my parents just said they couldn't get me out of the water from the start of the day to the end of the day. So they were pretty much going down to the beach at nighttime and trying to find me, and whatever I was doing, trying to swim with fish or whatever. I don't know. I've just been addicted from those are my first kind of memories of just being addicted to the feeling of just being in the ocean. And now I kind of need it. And I'm actually a bit more comfortable in the ocean, just like all of us, I think. All of us addicts.
Do you remember where that was in Fiji? Like I was there a couple of years ago.
It was Castaway Island.
Oh yeah.
That's where we used to go, and it's kind of near like Namotu and Tavarua. And
we actually went there by boat. Yeah, Castaway Island. It's a beautiful spot. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool little family spot. And then obviously later in life went back to Fiji and went to spots like Namotu and surfed around. And I was just thinking, because we went a year before the pandemic, and I was just thinking how good the wing would have been over there. Surf in the morning, there's always a breeze that comes up, so it would have been pretty unreal having the wing then.
For
next time.
sure. Next time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then can I ask you how old you are now?
I'm 34, coming
Okay.
up 35.
So,
So
and then, so how did you get into business? Like how did that come about?
um, probably it's a long story. Went to uni, didn't know what I wanted to do, like probably most of us. I just got an office job in Sydney, and I thought this isn't me. Went back to New Zealand, saved up, did a bit of building, and saved up and bought a plane ticket to the US. Um, and ended up working for a company over in the US for a little bit, just a surf retailer, and then met up with some shapers and stuff in San Clemente, and yeah, I guess worked over there for a year, came back here. This was kind of around the time of the SUP boom. So I just started sort of learning to design and designing SUPs, and yeah, I imported my first container. I think I was about 27. Imported the first container to New Zealand of
What year
SUPs.
was that?
I think it was like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
So it was kind of
It's
probably,
when
yeah, it's kind of the boom.
the sport was growing really fast at that time.
You were obviously pretty deep into it. I was pretty young, obviously, and sold the first container in like 2 weeks, and I thought, what? This is crazy.
Hmm.
This is too easy, sort of thing. And then I got another one, and then it just went from one thing to another, and I really just love designing boards, and yeah, um, and now here we are, quite a few products later. Things keep changing, which
Yeah.
makes it interesting.
So this is your website, pacificpaddlecompany.com, and this is your shop that you have. So
Yeah, so that is the shop in Auckland. We've been here 2 years. I should have had a photo of my first shop. It was in a paddock, just with a couple of containers, just when I started out. But I saw this premises a few years ago, and we just made the move, and never looked back really.
nice.
So that's in Takapuna, New Zealand, and it's 15 minutes down the road from me. So pretty good location, pretty good lifestyle.
So, and then I guess, when did you start getting into foiling and selling foil gear and all that kind of stuff?
So I remember seeing foiling. I think it was like Kai and Connor and stuff. They were on big kind of race boards cut in half, and I just went, "That's ridiculous. I have to try that." So I think it was the first batch of foils that came to New Zealand. I think it was GoFoil at the time. So I got my hands on one of those, and yeah, I was just thinking how hard it was. I think it was a little wing, and I was just thinking. I got Dad to actually tow me behind the jet ski, because I went straight out in the surf actually. I thought, oh, I can do this, and I just got rolled. So I got Dad we hired a jet ski, learned behind the ski, and it was, yeah. And then from there on, I don't know, just things have just been developing so fast. And now I've just the amount of different foils that I've tried, I'm sure you're the same. It's just been crazy, like development from where they began. I think it's so much easier now for anyone to pick it up. It was pretty hard back then. Small board, small wing, small everything, and yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram page here. It looks like you're deep into wing foiling. That's like your main thing, huh?
Yeah, it probably needs to be. I probably need to maybe get some stand-up paddle action back in there, but I don't know. It's just been yeah, it's just been so easy to wing lately. Just with sort of, I don't know. It's just looking for waves. I still love surfing. I still love it, but winging's just so much easier. So I'm just enjoying the fact you can just drive down the road 2 minutes from the shop and jump in the water and have a good 2 hour session. You know, I'm sure you relate to being busy, having a shop and a brand. I was going to ask you, because you're probably one of the only guys that I know actually who has the shop and the brand. So you kind of, it's a funny scenario sometimes. Got to
Yeah.
kind of wear two caps. Do you think?
Yeah, we're definitely similar in that respect. I mean, I've been in business since 1993, so it's been, like almost 30 years soon. And
Wow.
I kind of learned over the years to try to delegate as much as I can. And definitely the shop is kind of runs more or less without me being there all the time. So I'm fortunate that way.
Nice.
To be able to, take care of the kind of the back end stuff, and then do try to get in the water and so on. So, but yeah,
I'm
looking back
learning.
into
Yeah.
your feet, I guess like before you got into wing foiling, you were definitely into more into stand-up paddling and stand-up surfing and all that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yep.
And looking at your store sales, like how does foiling compare to stand-up paddling? I mean, I know for us, like during the whole pandemic, stand-up paddling's been super popular, and people just getting in the water, especially entry level boards and equipment, was been selling really well for us. How has it been for you?
I think, to be honest, it's been refreshing just with the whole foil thing taking off. And I mean, New Zealand's quite a small market, so stand-up paddle got pretty saturated pretty quickly here. So like everyone has their stand-up paddle boards. Maybe I'm not focusing on it that much anymore, but it just, the larger sort of chains, they bought in huge volumes of stand-up paddle boards, and I just love the fact, I think I've jumped on foiling because it's pretty hard to replicate. It's quite technical, and it's kind of, I love that kind of specialized, part of it. And I feel like it's not going to get saturated too quickly like stand-up paddle did. But I'm definitely going to push stand-up. I went for one the other day, actually. There wasn't any wind, so there were waves. So it was actually refreshing to get on a wave. You can't I don't know, you can't compare that feeling to winging, but yeah, it definitely looks, yeah, I was pretty sup dominated, wasn't I, back in the
Well, I mean, yeah,
right.
same as I was in our shop, and I mean,
Yeah.
we're still, I mean, for our shop, we still are still, it's the majority of our sales are still stand-up paddle boards, and I still stand up paddle. I still into racing and that kind of stuff. We have a training group that meets every Wednesday and so on. So still
Yeah.
doing that, but it's definitely like when I have time to go in the water, I usually try to go on a windy day so I can go wing foiling. Yeah, but
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna go back up to the top here. So yeah, I mean, and I mean, I started stand-up foiling, but then once I got on a wing foil board, just being able to be on the foil the whole time, that to me was so cool, just be able to
Yeah.
foil, be up on the foil for your whole session pretty much, and not have to paddle back out again. So that's definitely a draw of wing foiling for
Yeah.
me.
And yeah, it's, yeah. And not have to use the jet ski so much. I mean, I think about it like everybody's got their own jet ski, holding onto the wing. You're just getting towed back out to the lineup. It's crazy.
Yeah, and no pollution and no noise from the
Yeah,
wing.
yeah. How good. It's so good.
So I guess recently you had the America's Cup in New Zealand, and I guess tell us a little bit about that. You had posted this video of you guys foiling in between the races.
Yeah, it's been honestly pretty crazy with all the America's Cup stuff going on lately. I think we're pretty lucky to have like all the best sailors in the world in one location, for the last year, 2 years. It's just been crazy. Um, yeah, okay, this year was a bit of a mission. So earlier in this story, I met the helicopter pilots. They came into the shop, and they want some wing gear. So yeah, I mean, like everybody's into this thing. So even the pilots filming these races are like, yeah, we want to wing. So they came in the shop, and then I just sort of said, oh, we might be out there, because there were a bunch of us. I grabbed Josh from the shop and an Olympic sailor, Snowy, and we just went out to the course. And I just said, look, there's going to be a chance we're going to be out there. We might be near the course if you want to do a sneaky little flyby, maybe in between races. I just had my fingers crossed. They saw us, but they saw us, and it was kind of crazy. So it's actually about 5 knots of wind here. So it was kind of hard to get on the foil. It looks as though it's like windier than it is, but it's pretty light. So we all got up on the foil, luckily, and heard the sound of the choppers come over. We couldn't really believe it, that they were going to film us in between the race, but I guess it's kind of cool because it was on the live YouTube feed.
That's
and
awesome,
to get this it's pretty sweet getting this around the world. So yeah, they came over, and like they were filming us super close. Like there was one pass, the chopper came over, and the wash from the blades just sent the wing fly into my face, and I just got nailed. But it was awesome. So that was like an awesome memory. We got back to the boat ramp at like an hour after dark, and because everybody's got to go 5 knots back after the races.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these sort of boats. It's crazy. Just the most amount of boats you can imagine, just going 5 knots the whole way back to Auckland, the city.
Wow.
So no, that was a cool day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, those sailboats are just amazing. And I mean, I guess they're really driving the technology of the whole foiling technology and computer science and all that kind of stuff forward. I mean, it's really amazing stuff that they're doing, and the amount of money they're spending on it too.
It's crazy.
Just look.
I was talking to the American Magic guys, a couple of them. I shouldn't say this, but I think they spend up to about 150 million, and they do a couple of races and are out, and it's pretty brutal. So I was gutted at the time for them, because I got to know them pretty well, quite a few of the sailors for American Magic, and it was just outside our house actually, when they put the hole through the boat. So yeah, it just goes to show, like, the gear is really, really pushing the limit, and they're that close to breaking everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's Paul. That was Paul Goodison. So he's the trimmer for American Magic. So he stands beside Dean Barker, who's the helmsman. And he's been, like, as soon as they were out of the cup, he's been like winging every day. I think he just texted me just then, he came for a wing. So all these guys are temporarily unemployed. So it's pretty cool to see they're winging like every single opportunity.
That's awesome. Yeah. So a little backstory. I mean, we met and stayed in touch, and then you had emailed me like that you're coming out with your own wings, and if I wanted to try one. So I said, sure, send me a sample to test. And then I got it, and I was really impressed. I mean, it was my favorite wing I've tried so far. And I've tried a lot of different wings. Just has really nice handling and smooth power, and has that lofty feel. And it's just a great wing. So congratulations on that. And I have a bunch of footage of myself using the wing, the PPC wing. This is my friend Jeff doing a one-handed jump, but a lot of this is shot with a GoPro Max that's mounted on a pole on my back. But yeah, so I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the whole process of making your own wing design, and the whole process of doing that, I guess, and how you came up with the design.
Yeah, again, the wings came out, and I think it was 2000, what are we now, 2000, so it was 2009, into 2019 when the first bunch of wings came out on the market, something like that.
About 2 years ago, right? Yeah,
it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was so I made sure I got pretty much when they first came in, and I had a good amount of time kind of using quite a few different brands and stuff, and kind of kind of figuring out like pretty quickly like what I like and didn't like. I like it was funny when I first like grabbed a wing. I was like, sweet. I just grabbed my SUP, a little forward, which is like 80 liters, and went down to the lake near the shop, and I just got owned, and everyone laughed at me. So I went back up and got like a 140-liter board, and then I got it. But I've only got a little bit of sailing background. Like I sailed Optimist when I was a kid, so I don't have a huge sail background. So mainly just surf or board. So I got it, but I was pretty surprised how quickly like I progressed, and then kind of understood quickly like what a wing should be or how it kind of needs to feel, to kind of be an all-rounder or kind of what you want. So I kind of then lockdown happened, so then it kind of forced us. I was living at Mangawhai at the time, which is an hour north of here. It's kind of this cool little area with like 1,000 people, and it's got an inlet and a bar, and it's a really good place to kind of test and stuff. Luckily I had the jet ski as well, so I just started going for it really with getting wings made and getting them sent and testing them. I think we did about 29, 30 prototypes.
Oh, that's impressive. So can you go a little bit into the different variables that you tested in the prototypes and what made you
yep.
and kind of what the final design was based on?
Yeah, so I mean, I worked alongside a top sail maker, and we started with a frame. We had something to begin with, and then from there, I mean, there are so many different things that we played around with, but the span, the leading edge diameter, that was actually probably one of the trickiest to get right. We went, too small, too thick, with the strut and the leading edge. The leech tension was like a huge one, and I was lucky enough to actually talk to some top sailors here, and they used the wing and checked it out, and we kind of we've had some pretty top people looking at the wing through the prototyping process, which is pretty unique. So yeah, just to get like the first wings were flappy, and they weren't that good. So that through making these fine adjustments, we then got a pretty good wing around like 15 or something, and then we just tweaked a few things. Handle positioning was probably one of the hardest. Just going back and forth, just to get these things balanced, because yeah, I just found that so many wings were kind of too far at the back or too far at the front or something, and I don't know, I just like this pure kind of middle kind of feel that you can just power on with your backhand. So that's kind of the goal, and it was amazing. It's millimeters with handles. Like we'd go a millimeter too far back, and then we'd have to go a little bit further forward and just get them right. But yeah, we got there in the end. So and just we were able to kind of video from the jet ski and just see the thing flexing in the air if there was too much flex. Or I mean, we got to a point where we got pretty happy. It was pretty rigid. It was, I mean, I'm 90 kg, and it was yeah, I feel like it's kind of a combination between like the weight, the balance, and the power, without being too bulky. There's nothing worse to me than a bulky wing. It's hard to use. And
so
yeah,
what was the disadvantage of going with a thicker leading edge? Because I mean, I find it's the wing works great, but the tips are pretty flexible actually, right? I mean, it's not it doesn't feel super rigid, the structure of the tips of the wing anyways.
When you go too thick, I mean, every time we went too thick in the leading edge, it just lighter stuff. I mean, it's okay when you've got wind, but as soon as the wind just decreases a little bit, it just doesn't fly quite right. It's just a little bit too bulky and slow, and it's amazing how much the thickness adds to weight. Like that's what we were kind of figuring out. Um, so it's such a fine line between getting it right. I think as thin as you can go, but while keeping the frame as rigid as you can. And in saying that, it sounds really simple, but it was definitely, the wing was definitely the hardest thing I've ever had to be involved with, designing and prototyping. It made boards really easy.
One thing I really like about the wing is how nice it flies in neutral, kind of when you're on a wave and you're just holding it next to you behind you, it just kind of flutters and sits there really like it's very well behaved. It's like a well-behaved dog on a leash versus some of the other wings. You always have to like control them, like the other wings I've tried, they don't just sit there in neutral as well. So how did you have, was that part of the prototype process too, or?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean that's a big thing for me. I love surfing, so when I'm on a wave, when I'm winging, I definitely want to be as unmindful, or whatever the word is, of the wing as possible, just kind of to forget about it when you're riding. So right. I thought, with the design, without saying too much, it was definitely the strut which played a big part in that, and just bringing it a little bit lower, bringing it down a little bit compared to the leading edge, which definitely helped stabilize it. My dad's a pilot, so I've got a little bit of flying background. I nearly got my PPL, but I've got to do a few more hours. But I do have a bit of knowledge with flying. Actually, the coolest experience I've ever had was definitely being in a glider, and like I noticed, is it Tutuan, a French winger? I think he's F1. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I could see, he glides, he skis, and does all this stuff, and he puts it all together. You can see that he just puts it all together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I recently just watched a video of him doing some amazing stuff on the waves, right? Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's my goal for sure. So just point breaks, waves. The place that you were in at Pawanui with Bevan, that's a pretty cool spot for the wing when the wind's on.
Yeah, look beautiful there. I didn't have my stuff and my gear over there when we were there for the stand-up paddle race, but So and I just wanted to say thanks to Dan Reagan, who invited me over there. He's our distributor in Blue Planet, distributor in New Zealand, and he really got into wing foiling too. He was more of a stand-up paddler, and then he got into stand-up foiling, and now he's heavily into winging. And I think he said he got one of your wings too, right? Recently.
Yeah, he did. He's loving it. I saw him last week. Caught up with him for a quick coffee. He's good to have around. He's a bit of a frother, so he's he grabbed one, loves it. So that's good. We're we're getting a few wings out for sure in New Zealand. So
I mean, cool. It sounds like you've been selling out every time you get them in. Like how many have you sold so far of these wings?
I think we might have sold about 250 maybe in New Zealand.
That's just in New Zealand.
That's just New Zealand, yeah. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show. That's a huge amount. I mean, because New Zealand only has what, like 7 million population or something like that?
Five, I think.
Oh, 5 million?
We have a lot of sheep.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's around 5, just over 5. So right. It goes to show the amount of people though, right, who are into water sports here.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. But it's pretty satisfying seeing the wings out there flying well and getting really good feedback. And one of the big things for me is just listening to customers and just getting really, and just listening to them with feedback. And some of them might say some crazy stuff, but some of them, a lot of your customers say pretty stuff that you should listen to. So that's been definitely one of my things with designing.
Definitely gotta always listen to the customer.
So we've got your boards. We've got your boards in the store from Dan, which is cool. So we're starting to sell a few of those. People are loving them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, thanks for carrying our boards. I appreciate that. And then, yeah, I was going to say, like, in this drone footage, I'm using the 4.8, and then in the other footage, I was using the 3.8, and I also have a 5.8. So you have basically 1 meter increments, 2.8, 3.8, 4.8, 5.8, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of companies use percentage increments, but I wanted to keep it pretty simple, and we tried that with prototyping, and we tried percentage increments, but it kind of just worked out that 2.8, 3.8, 4.8, and 5.8 worked really well for their size and for their wind range that they're designed for.
Yeah, I was surprised that Duotone is going with 0.5 meter increments. Like, yeah, they're doing like 4, 4.5, 5, and 5.5, and so on. So, but I mean, I don't know anybody that's going to buy like every single size in that range. So it's like,
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Most people want to only buy one wing, actually.
Yeah, they do. I'm trying to sort of, convince people they need two for the whole wind range. And yeah, one of my things when designing the wing was definitely to design like the 3.8. To me, has quite a big wind range. Like, depending on what foil you're going to use, I can use a 3.8 and like 10 knots up to 25, which is pretty cool. And that's what a lot of customers are saying as well, that the wind range with our wings is really good for the size. So I noticed quite a few bigger wings on the market didn't really have the power that they should have had for the size, and that was my key thing. So making them as small as possible for as powerful as you could possibly get them.
Right.
But I think there's a long way to go. I think we're only scratching the surface.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity for improvements. So yeah, especially I think the wings and the foils too. I mean, just seems like the foils keep getting better too. Actually, so what kind of what's your favorite foil to use right now? Like, what brand and what foil wings do you like to use?
Ooh, putting me under the pressure here, because I know the guys at Armstrong pretty well, Army and Bevan and stuff. I'm loving the Armstrong stuff. I mean, yesterday I went fishing with Adrian Roper, who does Axis, so I'm using a bit of that. And I've been using a little bit of Moses as well, but I'm kind of coming back to Armstrong a lot for winging, just because the weight and jumping, and it feels pretty good under my feet. But it's funny, these questions, because by having a shop, I've got to kind of have the shop cap on.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, yeah, the Armstrong, like the wing is probably like half the weight of an Axis foil with aluminum, but
yeah,
I just like,
like I noticed.
To me, the Axis has that weight. Sometimes it's not a disadvantage, though. It makes it feel more solid somehow and more rigid.
Yeah,
too,
I agree. And a lot of people loving Axis.
Yeah. So, on the Axis, I mean, on the Armstrong foils, what's your favorite wings to use for winging?
I kind of chop and change between. I don't really ride anything over the 1550 now. If it's super light, maybe the 1850, but it's kind of between the 850 and the 1250. And depending on what board I'm on. So if I'm on the little board and it's windy, I've got a 33-liter little 4.0. So I'll probably use the 850. And then if it's a little lighter, I'll probably use like a 60-liter board with the 1250 or 1550.
The 1250 has a lot of lift, actually. Yeah, that's a really efficient foil, right?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's got a big window, and I reckon it's a good one, like for point breaks and stuff. You can pump through sections, and yeah. I mean, I'm just loving. It's cool being able to. It's cool actually not having my own foil and being able to kind of try all these different foils right now. I know you've got your own foil, but you use anything, right?
Yeah, I've been trying everything, and I mean, our carver foils are the ones our own foils are kind of a little bit more entry level. They're real easy to use and forgiving and stuff, but they're not the most high speed and most high performance ones. So yeah, so I've been playing around with a lot of different foils.
What's your favorite foil at the moment?
Like, I recently just started using the Axis 810. Have you tried that one? It's
Yeah.
that's a really nice one. I really like that one a lot. Before that, I was using mostly the 760, which is also one of my favorites. It's a really
Yeah.
good one. 760, and then if it's really light, the 862 and lighter winds. But yeah, those are kind of.
Right.
And then on the Armstrong, the 1250 or even the 1050 is pretty fun too in waves, and
Yeah,
if you
I
have
forgot
enough
about
wind.
that. Yeah, been using the 1050 a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's still very current. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, let's talk a little bit about boards. You just emailed me a picture of it's like your latest prototype. Yeah. Let me
Yeah, so it's
pull
cool.
it up. Yeah. So
We've
like
got
talk a little bit about board design and what you like to use and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have a shaper next to the shop, and it's been really cool with prototyping and just getting them made so I can see the blank and get them done pretty quick and take them out on the water pretty fast. But yeah, so I'm bringing out a new model which is slightly wider. I just feel like my first model it was pretty good. The only thing, it probably lacked a little bit of stability, maybe, for the bigger, slightly bigger or new people, for the board length. So it's kind of probably what you're doing, right? I'm just trying to get as much volume as possible and keep the swing weight down. But trying to keep a pretty parallel line and a kind of a square tail. Our first board kind of had a pulled in tail. And I realized, that's okay for some people, but you want to make it easy as possible, right, for people to grow, to grow the sport or whatever. So yeah, these are wider, bit of deck concave, which is proving to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
it looks like
yeah,
you have two stringers in there.
yeah, 2 carbon stringers that go right through to the front of board, through the track to the back, and yeah, these I'm going to do a range of boards made in New Zealand, which is kind of a different thing for me. I've always got most things made offshore, so I think that after the pandemic, there's been kind of a support local kind of thing. So yeah, there'll be a range here made in New Zealand, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah. So, and
So
what
yeah,
about the bottom shape? What kind of contours do you have on the bottom of the board?
so pretty smooth kind of. It's just a double barrel kind of concave that actually runs through the whole board now. I've kind of smoothened it out a little bit, not so drastic, and then the board's got sort of the same amount of nose kick and a little bit of tail kick. I find it's quite handy getting up on the foil when you're winging. But yeah, it's the bottom is kind of like our first model, but it just continues. The concaves just continues straight through, straight out the back, just kind of getting that water flow through the board or whatever. But yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. It's took it out the other day. I had a few people using it, and yeah, people for the size, it's pretty stable.
Yeah. So on the wings, the biggest, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, like the biggest size you make right now is 5.8. Is that correct? Or do you make a bigger one?
Yeah, 5.8 for now. I kind of,
yeah. I mean, I was going to say personally, I find that like when you go too big on the wing, it like, I guess, because it also increases the wingspan and it's like it tends to touch easier on the water. And you end up not getting that much more power by adding more surface area, it seems like, right? I mean, is that kind of what you're thinking? Like, I know some companies make like 7 meter or even bigger than that wings, but I've never, I mean, I've tried, but I've never had the desire to buy one that big, because it seems like at that point I'd just rather not go winging and do something else.
Yeah, I totally agree. My thoughts exactly. Like, I think there's even like a 9 out there, maybe. But yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like when you're holding something that cumbersome, it kind of, I don't know. It's hard to handle. It kind of just go towing, go surfing, go fishing. No, I don't know. I'm considering doing something around 6. but only considering. But I'd rather play around with new materials and see if we can get the same amount of grunt and just reduce the weight a little bit before we just start going bigger to get more efficiency. Because I think that possibly maybe with a material change and a design change, we don't have to go bigger to get more power.
Yeah, interesting. You talking about materials. I just talked to Todd from Ocean Rodeo yesterday, and about they're coming out with the Alula fabric frames, basically leading edge and the strut, which is like a super light material, I guess, and still very strong at a lighter weight. So is that what you're talking about? New materials, are you considering those?
Yeah, I had a look. I knew someone was going to come out with that about a year ago or 2 years ago. I kind of looked at that material, but price wise, it just wasn't that doable with production. But it's definitely it's pretty cool that someone's doing it. I think I've got a couple of things going on right now in New Zealand, but I'll keep you in the loop with. But
yeah, I mean the pricing is kind of crazy. I mean it's like twice as much as a regular wing in terms of.
That's the thing. Yeah, like right now, I think like recreation wise, I'm really happy actually with what we have, and you know, for everybody getting into it, you can almost when you change materials and you make them super efficient, you're kind of dealing with a pretty small market, right? So I think we're going to go there when we start racing, if we do. But I mean, my thing's in the surf and in the waves. But I guess with every sport, it's probably going to go race, isn't it? With wing, that are my thoughts. And then I think we will see some pretty drastic material changes, like you do, with the moths. The foiling moths. Their sails are carbon cloth, like super thin. I've been through a few international sail makers factories here in Auckland, and I've seen some pretty cool stuff being produced, but like again, it's cost wise, I don't think people are going to pay $3,000 or $2,000 US for or they might, for
I mean it seems like people always want to have the best, so if something is clearly better, then I think people will buy it, but it has to be significantly better for them to spend that much money, I think. But
exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about the handles real quick too. I find myself on the 3.8 and 4.8 using mostly the widest grip, the front handle and the back handle, and then on the 5.8 I use like the middle handle in the back. Is that the same what you do, or is that how you design them, or? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I go the widest grip as possible, unless it's like, well, if it's absolutely nuking, I'll probably use a smaller wing anyway. So I think with every wing, I use the widest possible, but I've got a pretty wide span. So, I actually went a little bit narrower, but do you find have you used the widest, the front and the back in the 5.8? Do you think that's a little bit too wide?
Well, yeah, I've used it both ways. I mean, and sometimes when if I want to jump, I'll grab the back handle. But for regular riding, I find on the 5.8, the second to last handle in the back work better for me for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to change with everybody's spans and weights and styles.
And
do you think it needs more handles?
Sorry?
You think it needs more handles? I noticed some manufacturers.
I came from the duotone wings, which have that stiff boom in them. And for so it took me a while to get used to the handles, to be honest, when I'm tacking and stuff like that, I would miss the handles, or I'd have to look where to grab. But over time you kind of get used to it, and now I can actually pretty much find the handle without looking for it most of the time. But having the rigid handle definitely has an advantage, and I don't know, I think that's something that could be improved. So on the wings is like the handles. I think having the inflatable center strut really helps with keeping the wing on the water, floating. And then also when you're flying on the wave, when it's a neutral, it keeps it flying straight, it doesn't tick tock back and forth, like without the center strut, it tends to kind of do that wandering thing, instead of flying in the wind. So, and but yeah, and that's what when I did the interview with Alan Cadiz, he mentioned that to the new duotone slick wing, because it has an inflatable center strut, it's more it handles nicer because of that. But yeah, I think that's something. I mean, I think I just had to get used to the handles too, but it took me a little while to figure that out. Because I mean, the nice advantage of having the stiff boom is that you can just slide your hand back and forth, and you can just grab it anywhere. And then bringing it out of the water is easy to like grab underneath the wing and just grab the handle. So it took me a little while, but I mean, now that I'm used to the handle, I think it's just as good, and it definitely feels a lot lighter without the boom.
I tried to make the handles like as rigid as possible, so it kind of had a boom feel. Because there's a lot of people in New Zealand and obviously in Maui and everywhere in Hawaii and windsurfers who are quite boom orientated, but there's been a few people, hardcore boom guys, that have used our wing who have just gone, this is cool. We can deal with an inflatable strut now, and so that's cool.
So you sold about 250 of these in New Zealand. I find that amazing. Is that like when you go out on the water, are like more than half of the people on your wings, or how? Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think like we're actually the only ones in New Zealand with a shop with our own brand, and I think that helps, to be honest. And there's actually no one in New Zealand. Well, there's Armstrong, but they're more international. So I focus pretty heavily on the local market. It's pretty good for me, but I just really wanted to have a good wing. So my goal was never to just rush and because I had an opportunity to put a wing out straight away when the first ones arrived, but I kind of just waited. I just really wanted to put a good wing out, and so we'll just update probably every year. I've noticed a couple of other brands have updated quite a few, like some are on like generation 3 or 4 or something now. But I think I'm gonna just every single year, have a different version, and we're working on it now, but it's a long way off yet. And
right on. So. All right, so anyone in the US, if you're interested in these wings, you can get them from us at Blue Planet Surf. And I'm planning to still come out with, I told you I would make a video about the wings, and I'm planning to still do that, probably post that a little bit after this interview posts. But let's talk a little bit about just wing foiling in general, and then some other random stuff. But can you talk a little bit about where you're at with your wing foiling, and like what you're working on? Like, do you have any new moves that you're working on, or what are you into these days?
It's a tricky one. Yeah, I think for me now, like I've been going to the lake a little bit to test product, but now I'm just sort of, every time the wind's up, I'm looking for a surf spot. So it's sort of like, and this is why I find winging really cool, because it's kind of, I didn't mention that before, but it's bringing all these different kind of sports together. So you've got sailors and surfers and all these different kind of sports coming together. And I'm noticing, the sailors, they love going fast. They love putting on an HA wing and a smaller wing and going fast. It's not official, but my friend Snowy, he's an Olympic sailor, he got like 30 knots here the other day, which is pretty fast, I think, for winging. And then for me, like, it's definitely finding surf spots, so finding point breaks, and I like wave riding. So, and the wing is just the answer. You don't have to get the jet ski all fueled up and go. Although when there's no wind, I love tow foiling. But for me, what I'm working on right now, I guess just going bigger, so bigger ears, like hitting the ramps. You guys, it looks as though you got some pretty sweet conditions over your way. Your video. Awesome.
we definitely try to get in the waves too, but I mean, I find that sometimes, I mean, for winging or foiling in general, you don't necessarily want to have the biggest, steepest waves. You just want like kind of a more of a mellow, not too steep of a wave, basically, because it just get hard to control the foil and on the faster, steeper wave. Unless I mean,
Yeah,
if you're toe foiling, you can use a tiny foil, so it's a little bit different.
yeah, exactly. I reckon you need you need like a really good combination of waves and wind if you're going to drop your foil size, especially if you're out somewhere on a point break and the tide's going out. Like you don't want to be stranded out there. And so I'm kind of going. There's no like one board that I'm using at the moment. So if I'm playing on a point break, I'm going to use a board with a bit more volume because unless it's like really nuking, I don't really want to get stuck out there with nothing. And Paua Nui is pretty sharky, so there's that. But
Paua Nui, like when I was there, the wind was like straight offshore. Is that the normal conditions there, or?
they're getting like southeast, which comes right up the beach, which is pure cross shore. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
like so it's like perfect. It just comes straight up and hits the point. So you're just like round and round, and I don't know. I think Bevan goes out for like 7 hours, gets in trouble with the wife.
That's such a
But
beautiful place. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was incredible. Yeah, yeah. What are you working on?
Oh, all kinds of stuff, but like one that I've been trying to pull off. This is my friend Daniel trying to do backflips. There's a couple of he's starting to do that, and I'm thinking about it, but I haven't really thrown myself backwards yet. But I have been trying to do those spins, into the wind, like turning the board through the wind, and then it's kind of weird because I landed a couple of them. The first time I tried them, my first session I tried it, I landed a couple. And then since then, like that was like 3 or 4 months ago, and I haven't been able to land a single one since. And I think it's all about the wing, getting the wing right on the landing. It's tough.
Same thing happened to me. Yeah, it's almost like I don't know what, because I used to be able to do threes and rodeos and backflips and front flips on skis in the snow.
Yeah.
And then I thought, but I don't know, with the whole wind thing, when you get air, it's definitely a lot of, and that's why all these windsurfers, these guys like bowls and stuff, they just know exactly where to put the wing in the wind to kind of help rotate you around, which is I need to try it a lot more. When I did a three, I keep the wing just facing one way and I kind of pass the handles around.
Yeah.
That's how I did it.
Yeah.
But it's probably not the right way to do it, but it worked for me.
Yeah, I mean that's how Zane is doing it too and stuff. But yeah, you did that way. If you do it that way, you just have to stick the landing perfectly because you don't have any power in the wing if you until you grab it again.
Yeah.
But so when you teach beginners or you get people into winging, what are your top tips to give to beginner wing foilers?
I'm in the shop because we teach people. We've got a jet ski, luckily, and we take people out and teach them how to foil first before the wing, so that they don't have two at the same time to kind of do together, which I think is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah.
I think you should always. My opinion, I think you should learn to foil first, and then grab a wing, play with it on the land, maybe jump on a skateboard or something, but get the feel for the wing, and then kind of combine them, put them together. But I'm always just saying, just go big, just go bigger than you think with everything. So big with the board, big with the foil, and yeah, just make it easy and go out when there's wind. So 15 knots or over when you're putting it all together.
Yeah. Definitely when you're starting out, it's hard. You need more power to get it going, like bigger wing, bigger foil, more wind.
Yeah.
And then as you get better, it seems like you can go down in size with everything because once you figure out how to kind of pump it up and get it going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any other tips?
And then there's the whole thing, like I think there's a fear with people buying a board that's maybe too big, and then they progress and need a smaller board. So well, at the shop in New Zealand, we're gonna lease some bigger boards, so like 7 foot by 32 kind of barges. We're just gonna lease them, and just so people kind of can learn without maybe buying a board straight away.
Oh,
And
then
then
you'll buy it back and resell it again or something.
yeah, yeah,
It's a good idea.
and to me, that's kind of, it's probably not like the greatest business profit idea, but I think it'll grow the sport. It's kind of what we need to do, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, it's definitely much easier to learn on a bigger board. I mean, like, this board I'm using is the Wingmaster 446, and like it's just no good to learn on. I mean, it's just too small and to get on your knees, and it's tippy and hard to use. But once you get the basics down, then that's kind of what you can use, so you outgrow a big board pretty quickly. And I usually tell people try to get a used one or borrow one from a friend or something like that, instead of don't spend a lot of money on a really big board anyways, because you're going to outgrow it pretty quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's not sort of the most affordable sport in the world, but yeah, it's quite a bit of gear. It's what quite a few people maybe put off with the gear or whatever, but I think that's definitely going to become more affordable, and a lot of different options.
This session here is actually one of the first times I used the PPC wing. I think it was the second day I used it, and right away I felt really comfortable on it.
Oh, really? So yeah. right away, pretty balanced and
yeah. No, it's a great wing. You did a good job on that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just life in general, like in terms of like what else are you interested in, and like do you have any hobbies or cross training or other sports or interests?
Well, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to taking the wing to the mountains and like jumping off some cliffs. I've seen some cool footage with like Kai and stuff lately, so that's been pretty sweet. And yeah, so I'm really pumped on like winter coming, which is weird because so I'll definitely be taking the wings to the mountain. And
so where do you go? Cool I guess on the South Island, you go. Where do you go, and which mountain?
Yeah, definitely down south. I've got some friends in Wanaka in Queenstown.
Okay.
So we'll stay down there. Actually, that's another thing. A lot of people are just winging on the lakes down here. Like it's perfect in the summer. They get heaps of wind, so a lot of people are loving it down there at the moment. So yeah, there's that. And then I play a bit of golf, and then I like fishing because it kind of takes my mind off, foiling, because I do it for a job like you, right? I don't know. How do you get away from it all?
I mean, good question. I mean, I just try to do stuff that's kind of meditative and not, where you can kind of clear your mind, and I love to go hiking, actually. Like I'll just go on solo hikes, try to go where no one else is around and just get out in nature and immerse myself and not listen to anything, and just kind of, try to kind of be almost empty, just clear the mind, basically, not think about stuff too much.
That's me on the golf course, finding golf balls the other day.
Golf course, I never really got into golfing. I figure that's something I can do when I get old. I don't feel
I agree, but for me, it really takes my mind off things. I think it's just because it's so
you have to focus. I mean, you have to focus on what you're doing.
So much focus. It's quite frustrating. No, it's cool.
So, do you have like a daily routine? Like when you get up in the morning, first thing, is there certain things you just do as a routine?
I usually just get up, have a coffee with my family, 4-year-old partner Kate, and then I'll check the wind straight away. So like I never used to check wind charts, but every day it's just checking the wind chart straight away. It used to be a swell chart, but that's kind of changed.
Yeah.
So we've got so I'm checking that, and then it's kind of, I don't think I'm where you are yet with the shop, so I've just got to be a little bit involved there. And then,
so what's your typical day like a day in your life? What's it like?
Well, typical day, get up, check the wind. If there's wind, I'll definitely wing, because I've got staff. I've got Denise in the shop. She's really, really organized, and I'm pretty lucky there. So I'll try and head out of the water. If I can't head out of the water, I'll come into the shop, and I'll pretty much figure out what I need to do to work on the wings or the boards, or I'll go next door and have a look at some blanks, and pretty much, and then just deal with a bit of production emails. You know how it is, bit of factory stuff.
Yeah.
Just make sure everything's running smoothly. Really, there's no day where, I mean, every day is different, which I love. And if I can get out, and that's why I love winging so much lately, because when it was busy through the summer, I could at least get out on the water for like an hour and just recharge with the wing, and then get back to the office a little bit. So, and then yeah, I'm pretty cruisy guy. Get back, watch a movie with the family. I'm pretty chill these days.
You have a 4-year-old? Is it a boy or a girl?
Yeah, 4-year-old Izzy, girl, and I can't wait to take her and get her into this. So I think she's now ready to get on the foil board with me.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool too. That seems like the younger generation is really interested in it too. I mean, this sport just has such a broad appeal, which I find cool. It's not just us older guys like me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think a lot about lately with wings and stuff and boards. Just designing them for kids actually, and I went around quite a few of the yacht clubs here, and a lot, like, New Zealand has a pretty good reputation for sailors, I think, and a lot of the clubs were looking at winging as a form to kind of teach the kids how foil kind of works. With the latest America's Cup stuff, I mean, the kids are just frothing on it. So I think, it's kind of actually an affordable way how to figure out how foil works, the wing setup.
I was going to ask you, when you're wing foiling, do you switch your stance, or do you keep it like in place like I do?
I keep it in place. Yeah, I'm a surfer. Yeah, people hassle me all the time about it, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
I've learned the whole body twist thing, and kind of point my back foot like forward a little bit to open up my body, and I can point pretty high now on my backside.
Oh, check this out. This is my friend Derek. He has like lines on his wing, so he can hold it way up high. Yeah, he's like it's like almost a cross between winging and kiting, So I thought that's kind
most of you guys.
Concept.
What about you guys? Are you guys switching your stance, or are you guys staying in the surf stance?
All my good friends are all staying in the surf stance,
Yeah.
And I think especially when you're using really small boards, that makes it hard to switch. But I mean, I think once you if you didn't learn to do it in the beginning on a bigger board, it's really hard to figure it out on a small board, right? I mean, it's just almost impossible.
I did it at the lake. I did it the other day, and it just felt like I was learning for the first time. So maybe that's something I'll work on, actually, switching my stance, because I know for a fact it's going to be better if you're doing big upwind reaches and stuff. You just point higher, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen, huh? I thought I was screen sharing this whole time. Sorry.
I thought that I could see it. So I'm just going along with it.
Oh, geez. Okay, I got to show this. I got to show this footage of Derek again.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just realized I didn't have my screen sharing on. Wait, I gotta go back here. But shucks. Yeah, I've been playing video footage and was talking about it this whole time. But
is it Derek? What's Derek? Is it Derek?
Derek Hamasaki is his name. Yeah, I'll show this footage. It's pretty cool. He's got lines on the wing. It's like way up high. So I mean, it's kind of cool because when the wing is higher off the water, you get more power too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
what I've been playing with.
It's a little bit windier up higher, so
exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the whole pandemic and all that, how has it affected you? And I mean, I know New Zealand is one of the few places where that's been relatively unaffected by the pandemic. I mean, normal life is pretty much, you guys are pretty much back to normal, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty lucky. Like honestly, it's yeah, we've had a pretty good. We've had a couple of lockdowns
Mm-hmm.
that we, the business had to be shut, which is it's pretty tough shutting your business doors. But I look at other countries, it's way worse. So I actually, yeah, we kind of, when the pandemic happened, we would go to level 3 and like we can all just say, well, can we wing? And we'd all just meet up down at the local wing spot and we could at least wing and kind of hit the water and go for walks and stuff. But yeah, I feel like we're in our own little bubble here, and especially with all the America's Cup stuff going on, it's sort of yeah, I just feel pretty lucky. But have you guys been in a similar kind of
Well, I mean,
scenario?
Hawaii, no, I mean, we've had, yeah, several shutdowns and a lot of people out of work because there's no tourism and stuff like that. So it's been
Yeah,
definitely
that's
affected a lot of people pretty seriously, you know.
yeah, that definitely a lot of tourism sort of companies down in especially Queenstown down south, relying on I think, some of these America's Cup sailors, they're staying in hotels and they're like the only ones at the moment. And they spoke, talking to the hotel managers saying that, you'd have to book a year in advance this time of the year. So it certainly affected tourism. And but I think we're just fortunate enough to be in this industry, and a lot of people just, they need to take their minds off things. So wing foiling, surfing, and these sort of sports have been pretty busy, like busier. And I think we've seen that with supply demand issues in factories, things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you had a hard time getting enough inventory of your boards and stuff like that? I mean, we are having issues with that. We don't have enough boards in stock.
100%. Yeah, we run out of boards every 2 months. Even I always have boards in production. I get some of my boards made in Vietnam, and it doesn't matter where. So yeah, and freight has tripled or nearly quadrupled in price actually
It's crazy.
since 3 years ago. So it's difficult, but kind of making it work.
Nice. So for people that are, I know a lot of people during the pandemic, like being stuck at home, they feeling lonely or, depressed or, anxious and stuff like that. Like how, like, do you have any friends that go through that? And what would you tell people, or do you have any advice on staying positive and living a good life?
I because I listened to Rob, your podcast the other day, and I kind of agree with him. Don't listen to the news too much, and just get out there, because yeah, I think listening to the news a lot and just getting in, I don't know, just it can really kind of create a lot of anxiety. I think if you just, you know, the sky's still blue, if you can get out there and just enjoy it, in safety. Yeah, I've just been watching a lot of Netflix. That's the only thing. A lot of good docos on Netflix lately.
Binge
So
watching, yeah.
yeah, I kind of like I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff. The new, I don't know, the Formula One stuff was kind of crazy. Seeing those guys, the new season 3, and how they kind of handled the pandemic, and like they still made it work, And there's a lot on the line. I think, yeah, the first one was cancelled in Melbourne, but they still had a season of Formula One,
Yeah.
and there's just so much on the line in that sport. So it was cool to see like things are still continuing. Um, but
Yeah.
I'm
America's
traveling
Cup
like,
too. That's pretty cool.
oh yeah, just having the America's Cup here was oh, it was just amazing.
Mm.
You know, Meeting up, having good chats with Jimmy and Pete and Dean and stuff. Dean Barker, he's the helmsman for American Magic. He's a Kiwi, and he's learning to wing at the moment. So like he must be like, I don't know. I shouldn't say it, maybe 50, 55. But like to
Cool.
me, there's like much of an age limit on winging, which like I love about it. It's it's huge. Like I had an 88-year-old come in the shop the other day wanting to wing, and I'm going to teach him.
That's awesome.
I'm just so I'll teach him on that big board, and I'll do it safely. Chuck a helmet on him, but
Mhm.
like I think it's possible. So it'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about what you're saying about the, the news and stuff like that. And I think on social media too, it's like, I guess they call it doom scrolling. It's like once you start looking at those kind of negative news and stuff, it just like feeds you more. It's like the more you look at it, the more it feeds you, and it just like kind of puts people in that state of, it's like almost it's like poor design. It's like people that are already anxious, they just get more and more of that. It's like it's terrible, really.
Yeah, there are a lot. I'd like to ditch my phone every now and then. When I'm fishing the other day, I thought about chucking it in the water, but no, I think, yeah, like when I know, because I lived in California for a good year and a half, and I know how it is over there. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's not like New Zealand, so it's kind of, there's just a lot more noise. I feel like we're away from it a little bit here, but I can see in other countries how you can get pretty wound up in it. Even
Well, it's what you
yeah.
focus
So
on too, though. Like, yeah, it's like you said, it's like, what what you don't have to look at it. You don't have to look at your phone all the time. It's yeah.
no, I mean, I've honestly, I think the wing has kept me pretty sane the last year. It's been like, I'm just stoked it's come along. Like, who would have thought we'd be holding on to this wing thing and having such a blast? But I feel like it has actually saved me quite a bit, like, mentally, like to have this to look forward to every single day. So it's been, it's gonna be around for a long time, I think. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's kept me sane too, for sure.
Mm.
So, yeah, no doubt.
But I look at your videos and look at your warm water and tropical, consistent winds and stuff, and get pretty jealous. So as soon as we
Yeah.
can travel, I'm coming over.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I mean, but like it's not always like this either, like I mean, like this week we're not gonna have any wind probably. No wing foiling for about a week. So, if you sometimes people come here for a week and they think they're gonna be winging every day, but it's not like that. Maybe 50% of the time it's good.
Yeah,
So, but
it's kind of like that.
you might come here for 2 weeks and not get any wind. And Maui is always windier. Like if you're coming, you want guaranteed wind. Definitely Maui is probably the place to go more than Oahu.
Yeah, I love Maui.
Just
Maui. I
the
love
shape
Hawaii.
of the islands is like a funnel. It funnels the wind between the West Maui Mountains and the Haleakala. So
Believe it, when we got plane from Oahu to Maui, and there was no wind at Oahu when we took off, and when we arrived in Maui, the palm trees were just like, it was like 30 knots. It was
like
crazy.
white capping everywhere. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty crazy like that for sure.
yeah. The wing didn't exist then, so it was just downwinders.
So so you just pretty much started your business by yourself and grew it, and like did you have any help or partners or anything like that?
Nah, so I feel kind of, it's funny because like a lot of these companies around me, and I've got quite a few people involved. I look at like, you know, pretty much every company around me, like Armstrong, etc., etc. I feel like a bit of a small fry because it's just me, but yeah, it's almost like it's not too bad being small, because then you can do shorter runs and kind of make sure that your product's still at the top of the game. You can you can you can do it in a way where you don't have to have such a big sort of volume kind of machine. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, a lot of the other companies I'm looking at have like 10, 20, 30 people. um, you know we've just got a few. It's just me and the factories and a couple of staff in the shop.
Yeah. So
So yeah.
Is there anyone you want to thank for their support or like that's there for you and or
Oh, just my partner Kate, probably just for putting up with me,
yeah.
and yeah, family and stuff, and everyone that supports me in New Zealand at the shop, and yeah, um, just gonna keep developing, keep the product improving. That's my goal for the next few years, anyway. Just to
Yeah.
keep improving things.
And right now
Yeah,
you're doing most of your sales are just consumer direct. You're just dealing directly with the customers, yeah, more than
yeah,
and
yeah.
so.
It's been pretty cool just dealing directly with customers, and like I think, yeah, it's pretty unique to be able to just test here in New Zealand. I think we've got a pretty cool place for testing. Like at the time where I was testing the wing, there was no one around, so it was pretty cool just being able to do that with no one like coming up to me on the beach and like. But again, like that is cool. And when I'm in Auckland, like you come out from the car park at where we wing at Takapuna, you've got about like 10 to 20 people around you sometimes, like asking you what is this new sport. So it's pretty crazy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and for people here in Hawaii, I mean, like traveling to New Zealand is really nice because it's only 1 hour time difference, really. So you don't really even get jet lag. You know, you instantly adjust to the different time zone, and then I mean it's a different day, but the hours it's only 1 hour difference, the daylight, and then you're in the opposite side of the planet, so it's like your winter is our summer and the other way around. So I guess it's kind of nice for you guys to come to Hawaii in your winter when it's summer over here, right? It's
oh,
probably
big time. Yeah,
that's when a lot of
oh,
the Kiwis come here for that.
oh yeah, it definitely breaks up the winter. I feel like up north though, it's not too bad. I used to live, down south's freezing. You'll be winging with gloves on.
All right.
Um, and that's why I keep thinking about handles with gloves, just making sure the gap's big enough. But for the colder parts of the world,
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, it was a thing to keep it. Like I didn't think of that, and then I sent one to Russia, and the guy's like, "Oh, I'm using my 3 millimeter gloves. It's feeling a little tight." So I thought, "Oh, damn it, maybe I'm gonna have to make a bigger gap for the handles." Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just seeing these wings around the like different parts of the world, especially like Russia and stuff, and it's crazy seeing your own brand around the world. WA in Australia,
Yeah.
they're I got a guy over there, Jason, wingman. He's doing pretty well. So people are loving the wings in Oz. So that's cool.
Nice.
And yeah, I think just for me, like I kind of just love my life, like right now, and I love my lifestyle, and I think like I don't want to like grow super fast or get an investor on board. I'm kind of happy just doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
Um,
self-funded, that's always, I think, always the best way. Just better to grow slower, but keep the ownership and be able to do what you
yeah,
want. That's kind of my philosophy, and I guess
yeah,
we're actually similar in a lot of ways. That have our own shop. We sell a lot of direct
yeah.
sales, but yeah,
And you ship all around the US, right?
yeah,
Um, drop. Yeah,
yeah. We do a lot of
that's
air cargo shipping. It's actually pretty affordable. I mean, we actually have free shipping on our website because we can, we kind of just include it in the price when we sell boards online.
that's so cool.
Yeah. So but how about you? Do you ship to Australia too? I mean, like, do you ship boards or mostly just your wings or everything? Or, I mean, like, it's a little bit harder, I think, to ship from New Zealand, yeah?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty expensive. So mostly the wing, and that's the good thing about the wing. It's been pretty affordable to send around the world. Boards are another thing. I think if someone wants to sell boards, they've got to fill a container. Um, it's I think it's crazy air freighting boards. um, I used to air freight like prototypes, which yeah, I think it used to be like 1,200 New Zealand or something, just for one little board. So it's quite cool being able to prototype and just prototyping in New Zealand now with the boards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think yeah, the wing is great. It's so small. It just doesn't take up any storage as well. So I think
Yeah.
do you find that?
Easy to
I mean,
distribute.
you must.
Yeah, no, totally. It's a lot easier than the board. You don't have to package it. It's already comes in this little
Yeah,
box and stuff, so it's nice.
yeah. Yeah, unloading a container of sups is a big job, or a few containers for you, I would say.
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at your background. It looks kind of like one of those fake Zoom backdrops. But you earlier you showed me your backyard. Can you
Oh,
show us your little pool and stuff? Yeah, it's a real
oh yeah,
background. Not it's not it's not a fake background. Oh, is that a
yeah,
trampoline? Got a
yeah.
trampoline.
There's a little trampoline. Yeah,
I heard Baltz
yeah.
Muller talk about practicing backflips on the trampoline with the wing in his hands. Have you tried that?
Well, I should probably try that actually. Because
Might be hard with that
yeah, I
mesh around it. Yeah.
yes, yeah, but I could. There's actually a big like trampoline place down the road, like a
Uh-huh.
huge. I might ask. If I can bring the wing there. It's like a big open one. I take Izzy there. Yeah, I should do that. But like because I can front flip and back flip on skis,
Yeah.
I know the feeling. And I think it's going to be the same. I'm just too scared to try it, to be honest. But I'm going to
Yeah.
try it with the
Yeah.
helmet on. But it's the same feeling because once you get over with skis on anyway, the skis and boots, the weight just pulls you back around. It actually feels pretty natural. Like when
Right.
you get away, it kind of you just naturally just keep going around. You can spot it. So
But it's
hopefully
just
it's the
that you
same.
have the wing between you and your landing, and then and then the foil above you, and so it just seems kind of sketchy.
Hang
I
on.
haven't gotten around to trying it.
I think I'll leave it to the pros.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was interesting too that Alan Cadiz was saying he doesn't jump at all. You know, he just like focuses. I mean, and he's such a good winger, but all he does is he stays on the water, which it kind of makes sense. When you get older, you don't want to get hurt and stuff like that. And
Yeah, and
but I just enjoy jumping too much. But it's probably not the best thing to do for my body.
same. But I'm actually surprised how it's actually not that jarring on your body. Like it's quite cushiony, especially
Yeah,
when I thought it would be probably more jarry, but it seems we can go pretty high without too much, jolt on the body. Which yeah, it's crazy.
yeah,
Especially so yeah, I wanna be able to jump on waves and jump back into the wave. I think that's the next goal.
right.
So
Yeah, I mean, definitely having that wing and being able to hold it above you like a parachute just really helps with the softer landings. Even more so
yeah,
than like
exactly.
on a windsurfer, you can't really hold it in that position. When you come back down, you have to you come down pretty hard usually, but on the wing, you can really come down pretty gently if you do it right. But you can also come down pretty hard if you don't have the wing
Yeah.
in the right position or whatever.
And
Yeah.
that's the whole trade-off I find with when it is really windy. You're going to want to go for a small wing, but it's going to be trickier with airs. So lately, I've been taking bigger wings out, trying to take bigger wings out in stronger winds, just seeing how big of a wing I can take, like in 20 knots. So I've been using like it was sort of 30 knots the other day, and I was using a 3.8,
Mhm.
and I should have been using the 2.8, but the 3.8 just you know made ears so much easier.
Yeah,
And
you
then
can
it's so
big jumps out.
you can just spill a bit of air.
Mhm.
They're pretty easy to lose power just by spilling a bit out the back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's one nice thing too, that you can really depower it pretty easily. And yeah, if you overpower, just put it over your head and let it flutter. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I think we went over everything I have on my list here. Do you have any last words? Anything else you want to share or talk about?
No, I'm just really looking forward to coming over, visiting, and winging
Yeah,
over your way. Change
looking
of
forward to
scenery.
having you visit Hawaii. And yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess I'll come back to New Zealand too when they'll allow Americans back in. I just got my
Yeah.
first shot of the vaccination and should get my
Oh,
second
really?
shot in a week or so. Yeah. And
We haven't. Yeah, right. We bought it. I think it's coming into effect soon, but I think we've just got it rolling out. So hopefully that opens up the borders a little bit more.
yeah. Yeah, it's
So
kind of
yeah,
interesting how different it is distributed around the world. Like Israel is already like fully vaccinated. They're vaccinating kids now. And then other countries haven't even started it yet. So, but I mean,
Yeah,
in New
it could
Zealand,
go
I mean, you pretty much got it under control there. I mean, you haven't had any cases for a while, right?
for a while. We had like one case the other day, and
Uh,
like our prime minister just goes full into lockdown straight away when anything like that happens. So I think it was, yeah, it was one. We had a lockdown for 1 week, and then it's nothing now. So yeah.
do you think that's an overreaction, or are you happy that your prime minister is on it like that?
Or a lot of people think it's an overreaction now. Honestly, but then you got to look at the other side. Like, what happens if there was a big outbreak? It would be a huge effect. What's 1 week of your life? You know, just catch up on some other stuff and go
Yeah.
for a walk, go for a hike with your family, and yeah, I don't know, work. So every time we've had a lockdown, it's just given me a time to actually catch up and work on designs. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm kind of with her on that one. So
That's good. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the New Zealanders are really supportive of the policies. It seems like,
yeah,
and and it's nice that you can live your life normally the rest of the time. If there's no cases, then you can just go about your normal business, right?
yeah. Honestly, it seems pretty normal. Like, and then you turn on the news and it's not. But no, it's like these American Magic guys, Nick Dana and Paul Goodison and stuff. I know they're traveling around the South Island right now, but they've both told me like they don't really want to go back home right now. Well, they don't. They're going back to Italy actually. So yeah, it's been. I didn't mention it. It's been crazy just having all the teams, Prada, American Magic, Ineos, all just coming into the shop and kind of holding the wing and kind of giving their feedback on the wing and talking about luff pockets and different materials. So I mean that's been pretty unique. It's been pretty special. So
Yeah,
I feel like yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
some interesting developments coming out soon, I think. So,
yeah.
yeah, no, super cool. All righty. Well, thanks so much. Oh, I was going to ask you earlier. You mentioned that you watched the interview with Rob Whittle. Did you watch Did you watch it on YouTube, or did you listen to the podcast? Or like, I'm just curious. And did you listen to any of the other shows? And what are your takeaways, or any tips and ideas for the show in the future? Oh yeah, and also, who should I interview next? That's
I think
another question.
I think you did a great job. Like it's funny because I thought about doing what you're doing like a few months ago,
Mhm.
but like I'm not gonna do it. You're doing a great job. Like I've been watching them on YouTube, on TV. I've been watching them with Lizzie and Kate and like Annie and stuff. I mean, I really love the athlete, you know, interviews. But then again, like having guys like Rob and stuff's pretty cool. And I actually watched that because I was hoping to learn a little bit about the new Armstrong system,
Mhm.
that we're selling in the shop,
Yeah.
and to clear it up for a lot of customers, asking me a lot of questions at the moment on that. But it's pretty simple. It's a product progression.
It's a couple extra
It's a good
screws,
thing.
right?
Yeah, couple of screws
Basically.
and you can use the new on the old. So I mean, and yeah, so I've yeah put the anxiety out for people who think they need to buy a whole new setup.
Yeah.
But no,
Actually, yeah,
I
maybe interviewing Army Armstrong about that would be an interesting topic, huh? Do you think?
yeah, I was thinking, yeah. Have you reached down to Army?
No,
He'd
yeah.
be he'd be
Could ask
yeah.
him.
He'd be one. He's cool to
He's
he's
a
a ripper.
character.
I like him. He's a character for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He rips. Like it's always fun winging with those guys because yeah, he's just one of those guys. Um, he's the test pilot for sure. Don't put him in front of a computer.
Okay.
But I don't know. I want to see guys like John maybe pick up this thing because I like watching the Vila on YouTube,
Mhm.
and I like the way guys like John and some other pro surfers they've picked up foiling and they love it and they sail. So I'm thinking, John, if you're sailing and foiling, why aren't you winging? Maybe he does it secretly at night time or something. I don't know. It'd be. I want to see some of those guys pick it up. Um,
Yeah, it might be kind of tricky to get him on the show, but I can try. And then, but I try to do it about wing foiling. So maybe, yeah, maybe I need to get him to start wing foiling first, and then I can interview him.
Yeah, exactly. No, Kelly Slater's got a house actually near here, so he's building one, or he comes here quite a lot. Up near Mangawai when we're testing the wing, so it'd be pretty fun to see him on a foil.
Yeah.
Most of yeah, but no, I don't know. It would maybe you've actually had the athletes that I was going to suggest, and everybody's probably suggests Kyle Lenny, but
Yeah. I'm trying. I reached out to his dad, so that's the only email I had. But I'll try to get him on the show for sure. Working on it.
about Cup Sailor, one of the recent, maybe Paul Goodison or Dean Barker, one of the American Magic guys.
Oh,
Because I mean
okay.
they're new to it, and they've got a different perspective. So that I think that'd be quite cool to talk to.
Yeah, for sure. If you have his contact information, I'd love to. Maybe you can introduce me or something.
100%
That'd
easy.
be awesome. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
funny, yeah.
definitely be real interesting to learn about the foiling sailboats. Yeah, and it's cool
Yeah, it
that
was
he's
pretty cool.
sounds like he's pretty hooked on
Yeah,
the wing right now too. Yeah. Yeah.
they're all hooked. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was crazy because at the time, I was lucky enough to come out with them. They took me out on the chase boats and stuff. So I looked at the foils pretty close up, and it's just crazy what they're doing.
Hmm.
And the limits they're pushing. But I think at any every speed, right, the foil has a maximum, no matter what it is.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's one of those things too about the speed of the foils. Like you were talking about the 30, what is it, 30 miles per hour. I mean
Uh,
that's super fast, but I mean really the limit is set by the foil more than anything. I mean, I think the wing and
yep.
the rider can go faster. It's just like you start to overfoil. So but then if you have a thinner, smaller foil, you can go faster, but then can you still get it going? That's the question. So yeah.
Yeah, it was 30 knots. No, it was Paul Snowy Hansen. He's an Olympic sailor here, so he understands how to hook up to the wind, and like guys like that, they pick it up so fast. And yeah, he was actually using a kite foil.
Hmm.
It was about 500, and it was
Hmm.
quite a long fuse, and it was a kite tail wing. So you
Yeah.
know,
Like a
it was
racing,
a
a kite
it was a
racing
racing kite.
foil. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he got that top speed on the 4.8. And we were testing between the 5.8 and the 4.8, but he got the higher speed on the smaller wing, hooking up to it. So you could really hook into it.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Hooking into
Um,
was he using a harness or you just is that
wasn't no,
harness?
was he? Yeah, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was just those guys are.
Locked in now.
I don't know. They just have the thing where they just bring it right into the rail of the board,
Hmm.
and it like creates this. I heard someone talking about that the other day actually.
Yeah.
And I tried it the other day, like bringing the wing into the rail of your board, and you just
Yeah.
create this like vacuum, and you just get real fast. It
Yeah.
just goes so fast.
You get more power from the wing and it's like closing the gap.
Oh yeah, no, it makes me think we're just going to be seeing like so many progression with foils being thinner, faster. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking too, like the leading edge is pretty thick, and that the thick bladders, I mean, and you kind of have to have it, like you were saying, you have to have that for the rigidity of the leading edge when it's inflated. But I mean, it seems like
yeah,
there's like if you made it rigid and then you could have a much, thinner leading edge and there would be less drag. So I mean, if you're really trying to do top speed and racing, it makes sense to maybe work on something like that, having a thinner leading edge, maybe.
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's no secret when you look at the America's Cup boat or any yacht, the leading edge of a mast is oval. It's not round. So I mean,
Mm.
it's got to be aerodynamic. I think a circle is probably the most inefficient shape to go through the air or something. So, but when we use these wings, to me, like they're pretty efficient. So at the moment, so I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be crazy to see where they're going to go when they do start the leading edge is thinner and a different shape. I think it's going to be pretty interesting
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
in a way, I'm kind of almost wishing that it wouldn't go that
No.
direction where it's all everything's extreme? I mean, like, because it's to me, it's just so much fun, and like, why,
Mm,
do we really need, like, in windsurfing you have like the speed boards, you have the slalom racing boards, you have like foil boards, you have freestyle boards, you have wave boards, and then beginner boards. I mean, it's like, do we really need all that stuff, and different sails for every sport and stuff like that? It seems like too much equipment.
yeah,
So
I agree. I agree. It's really fun right now. The gear feels great.
yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
keep it simple.
and keep it simple, especially for the people picking it up. Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I think that's a good way to end the interview. Got the sirens going by, but yeah, thanks so much for joining me today. And maybe we'll touch base again in a year or so when you have some new stuff coming out and more stuff to talk about, or when you're here in Hawaii, maybe we can have a live interview.
wait, can't wait.
Or
And
maybe I'll
yeah,
come visit you.
yeah,
All
thanks
right.
for having me on, Rob.
Yeah.
Always good to keep in touch.
Thanks, Sam.
All right.
Take care. Aloha.
Yeah. Aloha. See ya.
Bye. All right, congratulations. You made it to the very end, and don't leave yet because I have a message just for you. So from YouTube analytics, I know that over half the people that click on the video link on YouTube leave within the first 30 seconds. And by the very end of the video, only about 5% of the people that clicked on the video are still watching. So that means you are part of the top 5%. So you're at the very tip of the pyramid. It's like you're at the top of the sport, an influencer, and you're the ones I'm making these videos for, the 5% that's still watching now. So I'm not rushing these interviews, obviously. I want to get as much information as I can, and I hope you feel the same way, that these are super interesting to me. I really enjoy these conversations, and I hope you like them as much as I do. So we're the ones who set the directions of the sport of wing foiling, and I think we can all agree that we want to keep it safe and fun and inclusive for everybody. So that's my commitment to you, and I hope you agree that that's what we want for the sport. I really appreciate all the great comments on YouTube. I read them all. I try to respond to every comment. So, feel free to leave your comments down below. Any questions are welcome too. It's always good to have some questions and ideas for new videos to come out with. And please, please, please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That really helps our rankings on YouTube. If we get a lot of thumbs up, then more people will get to see the videos. I also want to give a shout out to all the super fans that always watch and comment. One of them is Joe Skill, who's a paraplegic, and he's super into all these wing foiling videos, and he wants to learn how to wing foil on a sport wheelchair with a small wing. So I think that's super cool, Joe. I hope you get to try that, and let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. People like you are awesome and inspire me to keep making these videos. I'm stoked to have people like you who comment all the time, and you know who you are. There's a lot of other guys, David Velasquez, and a lot of other people that always comment and give us the thumbs up. So I appreciate that. I'm really excited about the next interview as well. I'm going to talk to Kane DeWild from Maui, KD Maui on Instagram. He's a young athlete from Maui, super talented waterman, and also really a deep thinker. I've listened to some of his interviews on the Progression Project, which is another really good podcast. And he has so much in-depth information about how the foils work and so on. So I'm really looking forward to learning from him and sharing that knowledge with you as well. So stay tuned for that show coming soon within the next 2 weeks. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the water. Aloha.